Hello everybody, thanks for joining to our heat session today. For those of you who don't know me yet, my name is David and I'm the responsible area sales manager for East Europe and main parts of Southeast Asia. So it's nice to meet you. In today's heat session, we would like to talk with you about general emissions in a coffee roastery plant. So when you hear the word emission, you may immediately think on polluting components in the roasting air, like NOx or CO2 or something. But there is so much more to the word emission like that. And that is what we're going to show you with some examples in our heat session today. Therefore, we have two PROBAT experts with us, and I really would like to introduce them to you. So please follow me. Yeah, so on the one side, this is Jan-Philipp Müller from our project engineering department. And on the other side, this is Mark Weimer from our product management. So thank you very much for both to have you here and that you take your time to give us some insights today. So
thank you.
Thank you very much. So for the beginning, I think it would be perfect if you, Jan-Philipp, can give us a short classification of the word emission in general. But before you start, please let me emphasize to our viewers that if you have any kind of questions, please write them in our chats so that we can handle these questions during the session and give you a possible good answer to your questions. So thank you very much. Jan-Philipp, the stage is yours.
Thanks, David. Thanks for your kind introduction. So before we dive into the theoretical part of this session, I would like to emphasize that the following words, which we give in a couple of next minutes, is about the regulations and guidelines which we talk about now is mainly based on European German law. So that is what we have in most of the projects. Nevertheless, we know that these guidelines and regulations are well recognized all over the world. So what from our experience, what we find out in many projects, in many cases, these are they fit very well. But nevertheless, as you mentioned, David, if there are any specific specifications from our customer or in the project, we will check them.
Yeah, that is also my experience from previous projects. So if there's some specific regulation from the government, so the customer can just send them to us, we will check it, and of course we will find together a possible solution.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's imagine that we have a coffee roasting plant to give the start in this theoretical part of the session. As you can imagine, during the roasting process, we have gaseous emissions like the exhaust gas from the roasting air, exhaust gas from the cooling air. We also have noise pollution due to the production as well, and we also have dust exposure from within the plant. Yeah. These exposures are mainly spread or given to the environment. There we have an impact on humans, wildlife, environment, soil, water and air. And as well as on the outside, we also have these emissions and exposures inside our building, inside this production site. And there we have as well an impact on the machinery, but also on employees as well, on the humans inside the factory. So the main aim, the main target of emission reduction is always to lower risks and harms on humans and the machinery as well. That's the main issue behind these topics.
Yeah, I think it's very important as we deliver machines to our customers so that you can ensure that everything is secure and also not have impact on the health of the employees and so on.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. But which are the main guidelines where we look at? Probably you know it is well recognized that the German TH-Luft, it's the German word here on the slide. The German TH-Luft is more or less a conducting rule which gives us some good hints and the detailed limitations which we have to deal with, and the TH-Luft is a regulation for the gases and also the dust exposure, and is limiting the emissions that we give outside to the environment. Also, the tailor-made, it's also a German word on this slide here, gives us hints for the limitations regarding noise and sound to the outside environment of a production plant. But tailor-made is, from experience, in most of the cases, the noise level is limited by local authorities, that is the main limit which we have to deal with. Yeah. If we have a look inside the production building, inside the production area, there are some technical regulations also limiting noise, sound, and dust exposure to your employees. And in the English-speaking world, they are summed up under the OHS regulations. That's the word in the English-speaking world. And that is where we have a look at. And during project engineering, we have a look on these guidelines to fulfill the regulations and the limitations.
I think that is very important because some customers are not very aware of the special regulations, and they trust in PROBAT as the go-to partner in the coffee industry, that we know everything, and of course we discuss everything in detail so that everything is working properly afterwards.
Yes. As I mentioned, for a start in a project, that's very good to have this as a basis, but if the customer has stricter or even different limitations, or maybe completely others, we check it and we will handle that then.
Obviously,
Okay, so I guess thank you for the first theoretical part, and we will now jump into the first topic of emissions, which is the roasting exhaust air, and of course, so basically the ordinances stated that a roastery which produce 0.5 tons per day of finished product, so they need a permission for that focusing exactly on emissions, and that is why we need to take account of these parts which are inside the exhaust air. So the first is, of course, this is not listed here, is dust. We will come to that point later on. And these more gaseous components, which are nitrogen oxide, formaldehyde, carbon monoxide, and of course, the organic matters, which are more or less the all carbon compounds, and they are called volatile organic compounds. And in this specific point, the limits that are stated by the TA Luft are a little bit different. Because in general there are 50 milligram per cubic meter, and if we have a thermal or a catalytic air treatment, then we need to take 20 milligram into account. So these are the regulations we need to handle, and PROBAT now has 3 options to reduce overall emissions of the roasting exhaust air. On the first part, there is the basic device. This is the thermal afterburning, which our thermal afterburner RV. The second one is the thermal catalytic afterburning, where we add an additional catalyzer to the afterburner, and then the high-end solution is then the Proforte, which is the FRTO. So let's dive into the thermal afterburner, and I will show something on the screen directly. So this device is positioned after the roaster, and we have an additional, so a second burner in the roasting system, and the hot air coming from the roaster, approximately 180 degrees, goes into the system, is heated up by the burner to an oxidation temperature from 450 degrees, and so many of the parts are split up to less harmful materials or less harmful compounds, which is the aim of these devices. So the first step, and of course we will not meet exactly the regulations of the TA Luft in Germany, but maybe you have an example. In many areas of the world, this is a solution that fits the regulations, I guess.
So not everywhere on the planet we have the same regulations.
Yes.
So we have also part in the world which really good solution, and of course we can use it there, and it's very common for customers.
Perfect. So here we have the thermal pre-cleaner with the catalyzer. This is an advanced solution to clean the roasting exhaust air. Basically, this is the same one that I showed before. So a classical afterburner, but we have equipped that with an additional catalyzer. The same here. The air 180 degrees comes from the roaster, goes into the system, is heated up by the burner to approximately 450 degrees, then is guided through the catalyzer. Due to the chemical reaction, the air is then heated up to 630 degrees, and more temperature, higher temperature, a better efficiency of reducing the emissions.
Yeah. May I add some points? So maybe it's also important to add that we use a different burner instead of the burner we use for the roasting machine. So we have two burners in the system,
Yes.
One for the roasting machine and one for the exhaust air gas treatment. That gives us and our customers the fully flexibility, because if you change a parameter in the exhaust air gas treatment, you do not change the roasting process, and that is something that we think is very important.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, coming to now the last solution, and this is our PROFORTE, our flameless regenerative thermal oxidation, called shortly FRTO. Yeah. And of course, this is the state-of-the-art solution to come along with the regulations of the TA Luft, and especially in Germany, this is I guess the only solution actual on the market.
Which is legal, yeah.
No? I guess this is also your opinion.
Yes, absolutely. If you want to comply with the TA Luft in Germany, there's no way than using the PROFORTE system, and we have it in many projects and quotations recently.
Well, since 2006 we have firstly put that in a project. We have, as you said, many of these devices in the field, and yeah, the customers are very happy with the solution, I guess.
Yeah.
And
it's very future oriented, because as you mentioned, it had a low energy demand. And in that time, I think it's a very good effort to use low energy systems to be proof for the future.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so this slide will show or will give us a short comparison of these three versions. As you can see, the thermal afterburner does not meet the limit values that are set by the TA Luft. The thermal catalytic afterburner illustrates that we have decreasing values, unfortunately, due to the catalytic afterburning, chemical reaction, etc. The NOx level rises, but of course we have also a solution for that specific point, so a low NOx version to come along with that phenomenon. And we are working on a solution to come along with the regulations from the TA Luft with a catalytic afterburner. Yeah. The PROFORTE in this specific case, as I already mentioned, we are reaching all values from the TA Luft. So the perfect solution for our roasters to be able to set up a roastery or to run a roastery in Germany and to get the permission.
Yeah, of course, it's very important.
If we talk about the components in the exhauster, is there any link to the quality of green beans? since it is a biological product, is there maybe a...
Yes, yes, yes. So if we have a raw product, a raw bean, a green bean that consists of a high level of caffeine,
Okay.
then we are also having higher values from the roasting exhaust.
Okay.
Basically, it's depending on the raw material, as you mentioned, so on the
Yeah.
green bean, on the sort, on
Yeah.
the recipe, so how dark you would like to roast the
Yeah.
bean, etc., etc. So it's not easy to make a general statement.
Yeah, okay.
So we just need to make a specification, and based on that, we can give some answers. We can also do trials here in our R&D center with our customers to find out what is their specification in this regard. So that is also possible, of course.
Yeah. And one positive effect of these three solutions are that we also reduce the odors, because odors is also a carbon compound in the air.
That is a very good point.
And maybe you can add something about then the cooling air system, because we just talked about the roasting exhaust air, but there's also a solution for the cooling exhaust air.
Yeah, thanks. So I would like to catch up this topic of odors. So as Mark mentioned, we can reduce the odors in the roasting exhaust air with the help of our exhaust air treatments. So that is one thing. But what about the air which is released into the open during the cooling process? So in this air you have also odors, and of course it's not very nice for the people living near a roastery to have these odors.
Yeah.
And as you may know, we have a solution for that purpose since last year. So it's a ProAir system. And for those of you who don't know the ProAir system yet, I would like to give a very short explanation of the function. So basically the ProAir system consists of an injector cabinet, and this injector cabinet will be installed on the cooling piping system of your roasting machine. And that is the place where the magic happens, because the ProAir system uses a non-thermal plasma process to reduce the odors in the cooling exhaust air up to 90%, which is very unique in the coffee industry right now, and it makes it to a very state-of-the-art product. Furthermore, at the same time, it has a very low energy demand, so it makes it to the perfect solution for roasteries near residential areas. As many of you maybe remember, we had produced a special heat session already about the ProAir system together with our colleague Thomas last year. And since we released this heat session video, the numbers of requests of the ProAir system has increased constantly. So Jan Philipp, maybe you can give us some insights of your daily work in the project engineering. So what is your opinion, and especially what do you think about the possibility of integration in the existing roasting systems?
Yeah, so I'm absolutely with you. The offers with ProAir system integrated, and as well as the projects which we have right now, the numbers are increasing of the customers who want to have this ProAir system. And from a planning point of view or project engineering point of view, it's a system with a very small footprint itself. It has a filter unit, a small fan, and as you said, where the magic happens, you only need a small piece of pipe, and you can, more or less I would say, you can put it in any existing system as a retrofit, as an add-on.
And not only PROBAT roasters. So
and that is also a great advance.
Yes, so it's from my perspective, it's very good system as well for the layout and the planning. You always find space to put it in there.
So as you can see, it is a very interesting product, the ProAir system, and therefore we will post the link to the heat session video in our chats. So you are very invited to have a detailed look on that video again. And of course, if you have any kind of question, just contact us and we can get in touch and in contact. And of course, we will find a customized solution also for your case.
And I forgot to mention that we also did a special heat session for the ProForte last December with our colleagues Dirk and Oliver. and we will also put that link into the chat.
Perfect. Yeah.
So highly recommended to watch to have a better view of how the Proforte works, benefits, etc.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, I think we haven't talked about the topic of dust. So, Jan Philipp, maybe you can give us some insights of this topic.
Yes. Yeah. Let's first have a look where dust comes from in the roasting coffee process. So as you might know or can imagine that dust is comes always along with the green beans. Yeah. So in general you can say the quality of the green beans also defines the amount of dust inside the process which we need to handle. So for that reason it's always helpful for us in the engineering departments to know the exact details of your green bean sort. So we have a data sheet which you can hand over to us in the during the process of the project, and that helps us a lot to find the best solution, efficient solution. And then in the second step, where is dust released? It's also quite obvious. It is released everywhere where the dust has the possibility to be released or dissolved from the green bean. Yeah. And that is mainly where green beans are discharged, maybe in back discharge units, the back tubes, in big back discharge units, or on a higher level scale in truck discharges. Yeah. But as well as anywhere where green beans are transported in a pneumatical manner or in a mechanical manner and conveyed or discharged to any point in the plant. That are the points where we need to consider dust extraction. And mainly or basically the solution for that is also quite simple. You need high amount of air ratio to suck away, to extract the evolving dust from your working site. And for that, in summary, we have three solutions. The first would be the cyclone, which is not shown on the slide here, but in most of the cases we use filter units, and by the help of the filter units we can reach limits of dust exposure, dust amounts from lower than 20 milligrams per cubic meter on. And if you like to go a step further and want to release the air back inside the building, you can also use our fine filter unit, and by the help of the fine filter unit it's even possible to reach values lower than 1 milligram per cubic meter.
And I think also a big advantage to use this fine filter is, for example, if you heat up the ambient air in the building, and in the case that you just put it outside of the building, so it's a lot of energy waste. So therefore we can reuse the energy that we saved in the air, and can reuse it, which saves energy. And I think it's also a very good point.
Yeah, depends on the air balance which the customer also wants to have in his building. These are the points which we discuss with our customers there. With the topic dust extraction, another often discussed point comes along, that is the ARTEX guideline. So the dust extraction system is very important to we need to talk about the ARTEX guidelines at this point, and also need to have an eye on that to avoid explosion or hazardous situations there. Not to mention that also, if you do not have an eye on your dust extraction system, on your dust treatment, it can cause to your employees lung injuries. It can cause dirtying of your machinery, your production site. So it's always very important to have a look on your dust emissions inside the building.
And that is what PROBAT stands for, to give our customers also this knowledge. Because if you buy a PROBAT plant or machinery, you want the best, and of course you also not get the machine with PROBAT, you also get the knowledge, our solution, right. And that is also quite important.
Absolutely. Right. So we are looking for the best solution under the circumstances, mainly derived from the data sheet and what the project discussions show what the customer wants, what the project needs.
Yeah. So Jan-Philipp, you just mentioned that most of all dust extraction is reduced by initially having a high airflow.
Yeah, high air ratio, yeah.
A high air ratio, generated of course by fans.
Yes.
So that brings us to the next point, which is noise and noise pollution. And yes, of course. So as we mentioned before, the requirements from the local authorities or the requirements from the operator or the company who runs the roastery, they give us on the end the requirements or the needs to come along with noise pollution. And yeah, mostly we have a limit of noise that we need to fulfill, and to protect, of course, the employees inside the building, but also protects the residents outside the building.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so my question to you, where do you see the most or the prime sources of noise inside the roastery?
You already mentioned one. So in general, from a higher perspective, you can say everywhere where air flows, that will generate noise. So in most of the times we have it in fans, in blowers for pneumatic conveying systems, in the pneumatic conveying system or the piping system itself. And these are the main points where we have to consider the noise pollution or noise reduction.
Okay, so summing up these points, and it's generally where air is flowing.
Yes, absolutely.
So how we can handle then the noise reduction in this specific case, and let's say there's no fits all solution. Because,
unfortunately not. Yeah.
Because we have to have an eye on the needs from the authorities, from the operator of the roastery, and so there's always an individual solution for the customer. But of course we have some solutions for the devices. So silencers for the fans, silencers for pipes, maybe conveying pipes, where we have an additional insulation of the pipes, I guess, and of course, buffers on the roof for the air outlet. But as I mentioned before, it's always, I guess, individual specifications for that.
It comes along with the project specification.
Yes,
you can have it on the suction side only in the fan. You can maybe have no silencers necessary because the noise pollution is very low, or you have even the biggest solution, which is shown on the slide, with silence on any outlet of the fan, and maybe even the housing of the fan itself. So there, as you said, unfortunately there's no fits-all solution. It's always a point of discussion.
But to recap, we have always a solution for that.
Yeah, that is a good summarize of this heat session today. So it's very calm to know and good to know for our customers that we are aware of all these challenges come along with the general emission in roasting plant, that we have a wide range of possible solution. But of course, we can also get in discussion with customized solution. And I think that is very, very good to know for our customers, that we are able to provide them with any kind of solution.
Yes, right. Yeah.
Okay. So far, thank you very much for your time today. I think it was very interesting.
Thank you.
So very nice presentation, really nice discussion, really appreciate. So at the end, maybe I can emphasize that during the last 2 years, we have learned a lot about digital communication. But you know what? There's nothing to compare to to enjoy a good cup of coffee face to face, so in person. And the possibility to do that is quite soon, because at the end of September, we will have our Connecting Markets event here at PROBAT. And at that event, the complete worldwide coffee industry will be united in Emmerich, Germany, in our headquarters to make some panel discussion, to hear some speeches, to make experience session, but overall to reunite it after this long time of pandemic situation. So at the moment we have still some free tickets to get to this event, and yeah, you are very welcome to get in registration for the event. Therefore, we will also post in our chats the link to our registration website. And yes, would be great if we can meet each other at the end of September and yeah, drink some good cup of coffees here in Emmerich. Yeah. Yeah, at the end, once again, thank you very much. We hope that this session came up to your expectation, and please stay tuned to our next heat session, or maybe in person then at our Connecting Markets event. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.